So our next panel is going to talk about attracting and retaining women in the sector. We've got CES Limited, FanDuel, JP Morgan and FDM Group. And to kick us off is Chris Ellis. Chris, over to you.
Hello, thank you very much. So I'm the Chief Technical Officer at CAS, Computer Application Services. We're a small software company based in the Heriot Watt campus. We're reputedly Scotland's first software company. We've been around since 1969, but we're still fairly small. We're about 20 people at the moment. And I really wanted to stress that because I think in thinking about how we tackle the gender gap, it's important to think about what you can do from your position within a company. And being in a small company, we don't have the resources of some of the other guys who I'm sat up here with, but I still think we can make a contribution and we can encourage women into technology. So I thought it would be helpful to just give a little bit of background about what we do. We're a software engineering company. We make case management software for government and financial services organizations. So we build the software in-house. We have a team of software engineers, and we also have business analysts who go to the customers, find out what they need from the software, and then come and build a system which will work for them. So we've been doing that for a number of years now. We've built up a small team, and the team is currently about 25% women. So I think that's a reasonable, we're slightly ahead of the curve there, but there's still a way to go. Thinking then, so one of the things I wanted to talk about was the advantages of bringing women in. So bridging the technology gap is important because there are, we need to think about the future. We need to get people into technology and into the industry so that we can make sure that we've got the staff to do the work that we need them to do in the future. So how are we approaching that within CAS? And one of the things that we're doing at the moment is working with Equate on the CareerWise program. And what this program is doing is placing women into internships over the summer and providing women with an opportunity to experience a software engineering position during the course of a summer. So I thought it would be helpful to give a little bit of background about how that process works. We worked with Equate early on. We produce an advert which is placed in a number of different universities. They work with the students then vetting CVs that come in. We get some CVs, so all of this is great support for us. Not having an HR department of our own, we can really benefit from the support that Equate provide. Once we've got CVs, then obviously we interview and pick somebody who is suitable for the role. Obviously, we're going to pick somebody who can do the job and will do the job well. We've done this now. This will be our fourth year. We've just placed somebody this year into a position. We've done this now over the last 3 years. And what we found works best is if each of the placements has a project that they work on. So we find a project that's appropriate for somebody with that skill level. They work through the project with help from the team, and then they go back to their university place. Thinking then about the benefits of this, so for CAS as a company, we've benefited by having somebody come and do a project for us over the summer. All of the projects have been valid, useful bits of work, so that's something helpful for us. The students obviously get exposure to working in a real environment. They get exposure to working on a live project, and they learn some stuff as they go through the course of the project. And I'm pleased to report, so I was looking back at the interns we've had over the last few years and looking at what they've done. So 2 of them have now left university and are both working in software engineering positions, so that's great. One of those 2 actually did a Saltire student placement, so that was also fantastic. She got an opportunity to go to Florida, so it's great to have supported these young women on as they embark on their career. And we're looking forward to seeing what the next 2 will do as they come up. So I think that's me.
Thank you very much, Chris. Emma, the last time I heard somebody speak publicly from FanDuel, I think it was Rob, who was your CTO, who's waxing and
Thanks.
No. And he stood up in front of the audience at Scotsoft and told us how much he'd spent in marketing in the US that year, or FanDuel had. It's 260 million. So a technology company using marketing. So I'm just talking about the breadth and the depth of opportunity within businesses like FanDuel. It's just not all about the coding.
Yes, thank you for that. I think that and also for that.
Next.
Rob is a very seasoned, although I hate that term, an experienced public speaker. So yes, not too scared following that then. Thanks for kind of that introduction, and that's kind of the point that I wanted to make first of all, is that FanDuel, we are a daily fantasy sports product. Our product is predominantly used in America, but we were born here in Scotland, and that's where our engineering houses are, in Edinburgh and Glasgow. We grew incredibly quickly, and I say we, I wasn't there at the beginning, but you know, as we were talking about earlier on, why not ride that same wave that they have? So they grew very, very quickly. I think one year, the year that I joined 2 years ago, they pretty much quadrupled in size, in fact, so really huge. Went from 5 people in 2009 to today, where we have just over 350 across 5 locations. So huge, and which is fantastic. One of the things that we realised after we grew was we turned around and looked at each other and we sort of went, actually, everybody looks very, very similar. And that we don't have enough women. We don't have enough women in our development teams. We don't have enough women in our leadership team. So that was very much our starting off point. What we do have is a talent team and a senior leadership team that are dedicated to turning that round and understand the importance of doing so. So we started off with unconscious bias training at senior director and VP level, really to understand kind of what are the things that we're doing well, what are the areas that we really need to develop on from a retain, attract, and sustainability point of view. So that encouraged us to look, right, what are we doing well? And we do have a fantastic flexible working policy at FanDuel, but nobody knew about it. So that wasn't helpful. So what we did was we started working with Working Family Scotland, the campaign that Shirley and Somerville was talking about earlier on, and we put those flexible working Scotland on all of those logos, on all of our job advertisements, so that people could see that, yes, absolutely, we are happy to talk about flexible here. We also re-looked at all of our job adverts. We ensured that, or tried to ensure that we didn't have that shopping list of must-have technical skills that can so often put women off, so we now understand. And we started to really talk about the communicative, the creative and the collaborative ways that FanDuel work from a development point of view, and really inject some of the personality that FanDuel have. Those were both 2 fantastic things, but what we realised quickly that was focusing on was attracting women who were already in the tech sector. And that's wonderful, but as we've already talked about quite a lot today, that there aren't as many women in the tech sector as we would like to be. So then we thought, right, well, how can we make more? So we designed what we've called our entry-level roles, which basically means that regardless of whether your background, you don't need to have a background in the commercial tech sector. You wouldn't necessarily have to have a background in STEM subjects from an academic point of view. But what we can absolutely offer is that environment for a 6-month fixed-term contract where people can come in, have a dedicated, very strong mentoring program that will train them and bring them on and show them what a commercial environment can be like in a very fast-paced environment, I have to say. So great one to learn in. And at the end of that, hopefully they would get a permanent opportunity. We're also designing our graduate program, and which will launch next year, and with a thanks to the wonderful Equate, who've been mentioned many times today. We are really trying to make sure that we communicate that program to as many women who are studying whatever subject at university at the moment. So we had our first graduate women focused networking event last Friday, so that we could show them what a wonderful, friendly and not dungeon-like environment FanDuel is, and that went pretty well. obviously that's talked a lot about attracting and retaining and hopefully sustainability of talent, but also what we want to do is focus on the women that we have. We want to make sure that we're developing them as much as we can from a leadership point of view. So what we're going to be doing is as well, working with Equate, is developing a bespoke women leadership programme with the help of the women of the business and also men in the business too, to really understand what can we do for them better to ensure that they grow in their career. So that's me. I think I've definitely gone on too long, which I was very worried I would. Very much still learning all the time, so very excited to find out what else other people can teach me today.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And don't take this the wrong way, Lindsay. We're going now from a really quite a cool, funky new brand, FanDuel, to something reasonably staid and perceived as being...
That is absolutely untrue.
Exactly, and carry on.
So I'll refute that fact first of all. So my name is Lindsay Campbell. I am a vice president in JP Morgan and I run cloud technology for JP Morgan globally. So I work in a cool area, private and public cloud, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, I mean, I'm here today to tell you a little bit about like what JP Morgan's doing in Scotland. So first of all, how many people in the room have heard of JP Morgan before? Good, okay. We haven't got a logo in our building, that's the problem. So the first thing I was going to say is, we're not a traditional retail bank. We're one of the biggest banks in the whole world, but we're not like one that you would go and work with on the high street. So we've struggled in a lot of ways with our brand in Scotland, and I think that's been something that we've had to challenge over the last 15, 20 years that we've been established here. So you might not know that JP Morgan has 1,600 technologists in Glasgow city centre, right? 250 of them are women. So I've actually got 250 role models for anyone here that was talking about who wants a role model. Come and speak to me. I've got 250 brilliant women who can partner with you for that. So we're a big presence and we're going to grow significantly. We're looking to grow to 2,000, 2,500 over the next few years. We're looking to take another big building in Scotland. So there's lots of good things that are going to happen in Scotland for us. And as a female technologist, I look around the room as well and don't see familiar faces in terms of females. And over the last 10 years, I've been striving to change that. So what do we do? So looking at attraction and specifically looking at young females, we have a programme which is now in its third year called Tech Connect. And basically what we'd found is working with graduates, I went for years to Strathclyde and Glasgow Uni and did the third year software engineering welcome to your year talk. And every year for 6 years, it went from about 10 girls to 6 girls. And I started to get really concerned about the fact that the number was going down, even though my efforts were going up. And I thought, I'm not really helping things here. So what we thought was, what are the barriers here? What can we help? So one of the things that we're looking to do this year is to try and partner with the first year of computer science degree subjects to go into the females at that first year and give them some mentoring to help them stay in the subject. And that's a really important thing. I think there's a stat that says around about 50% of females in the first year of a computer science subject drop out. So we really need to start focusing earlier and not just in the third year when we're trying to capture them as a graduate. We need to pay attention to the fact that we need those women to stay. So that's the first thing. Secondly, with the graduates that we manage to keep, those special ones, we offer them something called Tech Connect, which is a kind of a pre-grad programme. So we get females not only from computer science subjects, but other subjects, and we put them on a kind of co-located 4-week intensive Java development programme. They form as a group. And I would say that as much as they are fantastic graduates, the loveliest thing I've seen out of that programme is the network that they form at that stage in their career. So for the rest of their careers at JP Morgan, they've got about 20, 30 females that they can count on forever to go to for support. And that's been fantastic. So we do that. And in addition, to retain the female technologists that we've got, they've retained me for 11 years, so that they're doing something right. But we have programs for the women that work in technology. So we had a traditional outlook where we've got quite a lot of women who aren't actually software developers at JP Morgan, but we're moving to a much more technology-focused role type. So what we're trying to offer is like conversion programs for females that are already in the organisation to see if we can train them to be like advance their technical careers, basically. I walk around my office a lot and hear women saying, but I'm not technical, and they work in a technology centre. And I'm like, see, if you go and ask the person on the street, you definitely are technical. So there's a lot of confidence building that we need to do with women who work in technology already to tell them that it's okay, they're actually technical, and that's a good thing. So we're doing a lot of work there, a lot of work just with building the women's network in Scotland, making sure that we've all got people that we can speak to. Role models is extremely important to us. So we've got a massive push to have more female directors, basically. So we're targeting a lot of the strong female leaders in Scotland and giving them support, not just from a technology perspective, but also confidence, negotiation skills, influencing skills, things that are going to help them to become tomorrow's leaders, with the aim that that'll be a more balanced section of our workforce. And then, that's basically it. We're doing so much. There's loads more I could tell you about modern apprentices, internships, partnerships with university, but we really do a lot here, and we look forward to doing a lot more with a lot of people in the room.
I'm just going to take a note here. Never mess with Lindsay again. Sheila, over to you.
Okay, hi. As I was walking through Georgie Square this morning, I stopped and I took a bit of a trip down memory lane. And I remembered that in 1973, I started my working career as a streetwalker. Silence. No, not as you think. I started off my career as a Glasgow policewoman in 1973. And I was there in 1975 when pay equality was introduced. And at that point, we women, and there weren't many of us, we were turfed out into the street to walk the beats of Glasgow. And I remember the sergeant saying, you can't do the same job as the men, so don't even try. So he gave me Paddy's Market, the mortuary, I was nicknamed Morticia, and the river. He also gave me a set of bicycle clips to stick on the bottom of my trousers to stop the rats running up my legs during the night shift. So moving on from that, that and the fact that I have 3 girls who, in fact, they're adults and they're all working in tech. None of them have studied tech at university, but they're all thriving with HSBC, Morgan Stanley, and one, she's part of the digital media team at FDM. So that has inspired and motivated me over many years to really sort of embed in the principles of FDM, getting more women into tech. Now, my husband, he started FDM 26 years ago. I was his first employee. And now we have about 4,000 staff working for us. We're very proud of the fact that 26% of our staff are female, and that over 50% of our management team are women. Now, if I said to you, if I asked you the same question as Lindsay asked you, how many of you have heard of FDM? I'm surprised so many of you have. But do you know that FDM is the largest hirer of STEM graduates in the United Kingdom? Last year, in the company, in the UK alone, we have FDM centres all over the world, but in the UK alone, we hired into our permanent staff over 1,200 people. Not only graduates, although I've got to tell you that the highest number of graduates that we have got into FDM, they're from Strathclyde University. So well done to Strathclyde. And we work with 132 universities here in the United Kingdom. We also have an ex-forces programme, of which Norman Yarwood is part of. He's part of our senior management team. And we now have Getting Back to Business. It's our Women Returners programme. The Women Returners programme is doing fantastically well, and we are introducing it into Glasgow over the next few months. Over the last 6 months, we've had over 2,000 applicants to join the programme. So what does FDM do? Well, we bring people in, and we couldn't really care less what degree discipline that our people have followed. And for the Getting Back to Business, they don't even need a degree or the ex-forces programme. But we bring them into one of our centres, and we have a fabulous new centre in not St Vincent Street, it's West Regent Street now, 1 West Regent Street, of which you're all invited. So contact Norman, get yourselves in there. I'm sure a lot of you already have. And we bring in people, in the company, last year, we had over 100,000 applicants to join the programme. The assessment is, the questioning strength-based, so it's not competency-based, and we felt that's better for women. And once they go through the assessment, the candidates, and they are successful, they will embark on up to 16 weeks of training. The Getting Back to Business programme, it's flexible learning, and that's 8 weeks of training. Following that, we will place our candidates, we employ them, and we place them out into industry. And we have perhaps 250 major clients here in the United Kingdom. So that's what FDM does. For me, I spearhead the Women in IT initiative. We sponsor the Every Woman Awards. We sponsor a number of other awards as well. I tend to say that you cannot be what you cannot see. And so therefore we have female champions, and we have a very active and structured mentoring program. We do absolutely tons. Diversity runs through the core of FDM, just like a sticky rock, I say. And, you know, I also tend to say that, you know, as a female leader myself, you know, I have a moral and a duty to help other women. And as a friend of mine said, there's a place in hell for women who don't help other women.
Okay, thank you, panel. Any questions from the floor before we move on here? Anybody would like to stick their hand up? Have a question? Lady at the back, at the middle. Hello.
Jane Grant, Norfolk, Scotland. I'm curious about this issue around flexibility, because I think it's a massive issue with regards to women either coming back into the industry or getting into it in the first place. And so I wonder, do you collectively have sort of flexible arrangements in your industry, and can you influence your industry in general to adopt these?
Chris, can I ask you to pick that one up first? Because I'm singling you out because you're the only bloke in the panel.
Sure. Yeah, so it's an honour to be that.
Yeah,
To have that role.
absolutely.
Yeah, so we as a small company, so I think software engineering, computing in general is actually a good role to have flexibility in, because people can work at home quite easily. They often don't need to be client-facing to do their work. You don't need a lot of stuff to do your work. You just generally need a computer. So in terms of offering flexibility, I think it is a very easy thing to do. And even in a small company where you might think, you know, you have to have coverage of phones and that kind of thing, again, technology can help you there. You don't need to be actually sat at your desk to be on the phone. So yeah, we offer flexibility. We generally have a core time when people should be in the office, which is 10 till 4, and then people have flexibility outside that. And we do have a number of currently all women who work shorter weeks, so 3 days, 4 days, so we can offer that as well.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add as well, so I've had first-hand experience of this. I'm a mum of 2-year-old twins right now. So I came back to work about a year ago. I had a year out, so I can speak with experience here about flexibility. And one of the things I would say, because flexibility has come up quite a bit, is that I think it's great to have a company that supports it, but it's actually quite a personal thing. I had an idea about what I wanted from flexibility before I started back work, and I was really well supported when I came back that I had a wealth of options I could choose from, because I thought I wanted to be full-time but compressed hours, and I had this crazy schedule in my head that I thought I was going to work to, and when I actually came back to work it wasn't the case. And actually I work in technology, which is so true. It's such a flexible career that you can do it anywhere. So I do 1 or 2 days from home, and that works really well for me. And one of those days the girls do go to nursery.